Well, we're back here on the Rundown with the big news out of London, which is making headlines here in the Middle East. Prince William is set to make an official visit to Israel and the Palestinian territories. The palace saying in a statement that the trip is at the request of Her Majesty's government and has been welcomed by the Israeli, Jordanian, and Palestinian authorities. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu welcoming the announcement, saying this is an historic visit, the first of its kind, and he will be welcomed here with great affection. Well, for more, we're joined in the studio by British journalist Marianne Libor. But first, let's go to London on our correspondent there, Jonathan Sacerdoti. And Jonathan, let's clarify, because there has been, I see, some confusion in the press and maybe even the Prime Minister, whether this is the first official visit by a member of the royal family or not. And overall, what is its significance?
Well, it's significant because this is the second in line to the throne visiting Israel, and the royal family have steered rather clear of Israel in terms of official visits. However, Kensington Palace have told me today that they do not consider this to be the first official visit of the royal family to Israel. They cited two previous visits, which were at the request of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and therefore Her Majesty's government, and they said that those were official visits. And then, of course, I asked them if that meant that this is not only an official visit, but a state visit, and they said they would opt just to call it an official visit. So I think things are still clear as mud in that sense, but it's good news that a prominent member of the British royal family will be visiting Israel after years of campaigning and lobbying on the part of Israeli politicians and, of course, many in the Jewish community here in the UK.
Marianne, it's very difficult for any leader or any royal to come to this part of the world and stay clear of politics. How concerned is the royal family about that? Because it seems to have potentially derailed planned visits in the past.
Yeah, that's definitely true. There were rumours a year ago that Prince Charles was coming in 2017, and then that was scuppered. I'm wondering if perhaps because it's Prince William, who's a young figure, not quite as serious perhaps as Prince Charles, that will make it less political. But for sure it will have to steer clear of politics, if that's possible, around here.
And Jonathan, why do you think this visit is coming, even though there were official visits? He is a member of the immediate, let's say, royal family. Why do you think Prince William is making this decision to come to Israel?
Well, having asked the Foreign and Commonwealth Office that very question, I can tell you that they are saying that there's been some consideration of a royal visit for some time, and that decisions where royal members of the royal family are visiting another country are made by a specific committee, the Royal Visits Committee, and include advice from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. So in the past, especially with that rumoured trip of Prince Charles's last year that was then cancelled, there was some suspicion that maybe it was felt the Foreign Office and those in the Foreign Office had warned that it could be sensitive in terms of Arab nations finding this somehow complicated. We can speculate what might have changed. It might also be the case that with alliances changing across the Middle East and across the world, it's deemed less problematic for the royal family to visit Israel. And let's not forget that they haven't shied away from controversial countries, having visited places like Saudi Arabia. This is obviously something that many have pointed to when they've said that a visit from the royal family to Israel has been long overdue. And maybe those protests have been heard along with other considerations. And as your other guest there has said, the participation of the young prince might be seen as somehow less problematic as he's taking the royal family and the British relationship with Israel into a new era.
Marianne, what's your take on that? And I mean, break it down for us commoners. How are those decisions made? Because we all know that the royal family doesn't decide where to visit and when just on a whim.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely decided by the government. They don't go. I'm not sure which official visits they're talking about. Whether it was Rabin's funeral and Perez's funeral was not seen as an official visit, as I understand it.
Other members of the royal family, not the immediate, the more extended.
No, and really very, very, don't mean minor royals, they were minor royals, but minor visit. You couldn't in any way call that official. This is definitely, you know, up front, out there, he's coming on an official visit. But it's decided and dictated to, for sure, by the government. His programme will be looked at intricately. He won't he will know who he's meeting. It will be planned very, very carefully, which might be quite hard for us because we're so spontaneous and touchy-feely. None of that. You know, it will really be organised.
What about public statements and things of that sort? Because that will also naturally be very delicate in places like Israel and the West Bank.
Yeah, I mean, look, they'll just have to plan it very carefully. Cultural trips, high-tech, staying very clear. I think it's very difficult. It's very sensitive. And it's interesting that they've put him... This is a serious trip because of that. But I think there's something light-hearted about him that should see him through it.
Beyond being just an official trip from the royal family, I mean, Prince William is sort of a rock star of the royal family. Him and his brother and their wives. We don't know if his wife is coming. She'll have given birth, I believe, just a few months before that. What does it do for Israel to have someone like Prince William come pay a call?
I think it's very important, and I think it's huge in a way, because I've been here many years and always thought, when is somebody coming? And you might think, oh, it's only the royal family, but he's got that star power. I think it's great, and hopefully, you know, we will acquit ourselves well when he comes.
One thing we know is that no car will be able to move an inch for probably 48 hours before and after he's here. So
and all of us Brits want to stake our claim to meet him.
All right, that'll be an interesting visit to watch. Marianne Libor and Jonathan Sacerdoti in London, thank you both for being with us. We're going to go out for a quick break right here.